Stay with this theme as some residents of Hammanskraal remain hopeful that the proposed government of national unity will bring change to the region. This as the area continues to struggle with a decades-long erratic water supply. They say they're often left without water for hours at a stretch. My colleague Katleho Sekhotho was there today and she joins me in studio right now. Katleho, good to have you in studio. Firstly, describe what are the primary challenges that residents are facing in Hammanskraal as they try to get access to clean and reliable water.
Yes. So, Ntantla, the status quo right now in Hammanskraal is that people often have to source water from boreholes or from water tankers which supply the greater region with water supply. And this is because they don't have clean running water coming out of their taps in their homes. So what happened last week, which really spurred us to go back into the community, because as we know, Hammanskraal has been faced with a number of issues for years, almost over a decade, was the burst pipe at the timber plant. And that burst pipe repair work has been going on there, from what we understand from the councillor of Ward 75, who we spoke to as well today, saying the repairs have happened, but in terms of people getting water, that process is still slow, but they are working on it. So it's twofold in that there's the long-term problem in Hammanskraal of water supply and clean drinking water, and then there's incidents like last week where a pipe burst at the timber plant, leaving people to really only rely on borehole water or water from these water tankers. So a lot of frustration on the ground from residents, who really look to us to at least highlight some of the short and long-term problems. But as we know, we've heard from government some of the long-term interventions, including the presidential package, water treatment plant package, which should be complete according to them by September, which will really aim to eradicate some of the long-term challenges that they've faced there. But you do have what happened last week at the timber plant really exacerbating the situation that's already been troublesome for the community of Hammanskraal.
So, Katleho, you're quite right in the sense that this is not the first time that we're hearing about Hammanskraal facing similar challenges, if you will. I mean, the Rooiwal wastewater treatment saga is still one that's dominating headlines, even currently. But when speaking to residents there now, speaking to these particular challenges that they have, how have they described the impact that this problem has had on them, but also their children?
Yes. So certainly we hear stories from the community that people fall sick if they drink the water without boiling it or without taking measures to make sure that it's clean. I mean, we've heard from one resident, it was almost like quite known that if you drink the water in Hammanskraal, your teeth will be brown. So we've heard from residents, they claim that people have died directly due to drinking contaminated water. I mean, they've told us of cases of people going to the Jubilee Hospital, the main hospital there in Hammanskraal, and succumbing to some of the diseases that they have due to the water. So people know in Hammanskraal, and they describe it, that water should only be used for washing dishes, laundry, but extra care has to be taken if you're going to drink the water, or resort to only drinking bottled water. So adding further costs to families, to households, in terms of drinking water and how they can just function daily. Yeah.
To allude back to my intro, we did mention that residents there are quite hopeful that through this formation of a GNU, some change will come to their community as well. What have they said in this regard?
So it's mixed. There's mixed feelings. We've certainly spoken to people who feel the GNU might not work because it's still a collaboration between the ANC, the DA and others, and in the city of Tshwane, Gauteng as a whole being a coalition province, but in Tshwane led by the DA, but the councillor there being from the ANC. So them feeling like, well, if it's the same partnerships with the same people, maybe there might be little difference in their lives. But certainly we did hear voices of residents who feel, you know what, maybe there might be new ideas, new leaders, new voices who come to the table, and perhaps new ideas and solutions will be discussed to change their lives.
But beyond the statement that you mentioned, has there been any, call it concrete response from authorities or the municipality itself to find ways of responding to these concerns that residents have had over this intermittent water supply, but also issues over the quality of the water that they receive?
Yes. So it's tricky in the sense that you will have access to some of the statements that officials will share. But on the ground, when you speak to residents, they do feel like there's a lack of communication in terms of what's actually happening. How long do they have to wait until there's water? How long will they have to wait until there's a long-term solution for their challenges? So residents certainly feeling like they're not getting response, especially sometimes from councillors or just in general, and not knowing what's going to happen and when.
Katleho, thank you so much for joining us in studio to tell us about the plight of the people in Hammanskraal who have had intermittent water supply, challenges also pertaining to the quality of the water that they receive.